Now, good morning, everybody. We give you a warm welcome on behalf of the organizing committee of LACHEC 2020. My name is Carolina Franco, and I'm the Director of Internationalization at Tecnológico de Antioquia, TDA. I will be hosting this session representing RCI and the organizing committee. We remind the participants to keep your microphones off during the session. Any questions that arise during the presentation, we kindly ask you to register them in our chat, where I'll be collecting them for our final question and answer session. We invite you to check the announcements and forums published in the HUVA app to foster dialogue and collaboration among all participants. We also invite you to visit the virtual stands of our exhibitors, where you can interact with over 15 institutions, including our diamond, gold, and silver sponsors. In our session today, lessons learned from the first GIPE project, a successful real-world COIL approach among higher education institutions from 4 continents. We have as guest speakers Manfred Meyer and Colin Stanley. Manfred Meyer is a professor for business informatics at Westfälische Hochschule in Bocholt, Germany, holding a master in science and a PhD in computer science. His worldwide teaching and research focus on logic. Colin Stanley is the acting dean at the Faculty of Computing and Informatics at Namibia University of Science and Technology. He completed his bachelor in software development at Namibia University of Science and Technology and his master in computer science at Free University of Bolzano in Italy. In 2017, he received the Best Faculty of Computing and Informatics Emerging Research Award. His research interest is focused on embracing African epistemologies in co-designing software tools with rural communities. Now, Manfred and Colin, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. Yeah, first of all, I think we have to discuss some organizational aspects because we propose to have a campfire session, which then means that we want to foster interaction with you. So that means we're not going to give a presentation and then discuss any upcoming questions afterwards, but instead we would like to give a short introduction and present our first GIPE project so that we have a basis for our discussion. And then we would like to have 2 working sessions, campfire sessions, name it as you like, but we want to interact with you and discuss challenges and also success factors of these international cooperative learning projects. And I hope that's fine with the organizers that we do it like that. Any feedback? Can we proceed like
Perfect.
that? So we, yeah?
Yes,
No
inconvenience.
Yeah, because we prepared for this campfire, but later on we learned that there are no explicit campfire sessions in the program anymore. So maybe that caused some misunderstanding, but I think I hope it's fine. We do it like that. So then I would like to share some slides with you and giving you a short introduction of what we are talking about. So I share my screen. Okay. So you should have the presentation now. Everything fine?
Yes.
Yes.
We can see.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Okay, so yeah, welcome to this session. And the title is about lessons learned from the first GIPE project. Later on, you will know what we mean by GIPE. We actually invented a verb to GIPE, let's GIPE together, whatever. I use this for promotional activities. So that is actually it's not one project, it's a framework of projects that we just started end of last year, and we were so happy to have this running, and everything looked fine until until March this year, when sadly we had to recognize that we won't have physical interaction among our students. We will have to continue and finalize the project entirely online, which is very sad. But anyway, as we said in the title, that we were able to finalize, to finish this project successfully. I will show you some pictures and give you some impression on what we were dealing with in the project. So basically, it's a project or an approach bringing together 4 universities from 4 continents. You see some iconic pictures on this screen. So that is Arequipa. Let's stay on the continent that hosts this conference. So that is the central place, the Plaza de Armas in Arequipa. We have Windhoek in the lower right corner. We have Indonesia, Jakarta, the capital of Indonesia, upper left, and we have looks a bit rural in Bocholt campus, and our university, quite a small university. On our campus, we have about 2,500 students. But with all these universities, we started to establish joint projects, bringing together students from all these continents, working on a common project and working on a project that serves the real client. So that is something that really poses some more challenges as we had to learn, but which made the experience quite valuable for the students, because they were developing a real application in this case, so something useful for a real client in some of these countries. So as has been introduced already, my name is Manfred Meyer. I'm here with Colin Stanley from Namibia University of Science and Technology. That's the country where our client is located. And is Maria also with us? Maria Maldonado from UCSP in Arequipa. Maria, can you make yourself heard? Are you with us? Oh, she couldn't make it. Okay. Yeah. So it's us both. So also Maria from Arequipa and our colleagues from Indonesia. We just had a meeting with them 2 hours ago, but for them it's almost midnight now, which also introduces one of the challenges, of course, for such a project. So they will not be with us for this session. Okay, this is what what our plan is for this session. Some welcome introduction I did already. I will give a short overview about what we did in this project, what the approach is about. And then the plan is to discuss with you challenges in this project. Of course, we will share our observations, what challenges are for such a project layout. And then also to discuss what are the success factors, what we can share with you, what we think was important to make this project a success in some sense. Of course, many things went wrong, and we had a lot of challenges, issues to come over. But finally, all the students stayed on the project. All the students successfully completed this course, so they got credit for the course, and the client got something of value for him. So as regards the most aspects, or the most important aspect, this project can be regarded as a successful project. So that's what we want to work on together with you, and then also discuss what can be taken home. Can this project serve as a blueprint? What are the relevant parameters that make this project successful, or that you need to adjust if you try to run this within your home institution or your network of international institutions. So just very briefly, giving you an idea of this project. So it's nothing that we came up with very instantly, and now we are doing this. So this goes back to 5, 6, 7 years ago, when I was visiting Namibia University. It was the Polytechnic of Namibia at that time. And we started thinking about having some kind of international software engineering project between our both institutions. It was only these 2 institutions. We came up with a curriculum, got some copies here. And then we had 2 instances of this project in 2015 and 2018 with 2 different higher education institutions in Namibia. Basically, both the universities, University of Namibia and the Namibia University of Science and Technology, which was Polytechnic at that time. So you see some numbers. So we got grants for a small number of students to travel between Namibia and Germany. We brought our students down there, working on a project for a real client, and we were able to have mobilities for students from Namibia to also come to Germany and work with our students. But this on a very small scale. And then it happened in early 2019 that the DAAD launched a new program, HEI International. So it's focusing on universities of applied science. And we applied, we submitted a proposal there. We went through different stages. It's only 1 application per university. And then finally we got the approval. And 14 such projects got approved. Only 2 from our state, the biggest state in Germany, North Rhine-Westphalia. So these are the numbers, duration of 4 years. A project budget is still a little over 800,000 euro. And this will cover for student mobilities, for almost 120 student mobilities to visit the university in a different continent, mainly coming to Germany, or for the German students to visit that university where the client is located. That's that's a theory. And okay, our partners, just some impressions. Yeah, that is Atmajaya University, Catholic University in Jakarta. Then we have the Universidad Católica San Pablo in Arequipa. That's me in front of Misty there, and you see there are more pictures. So I spent a good time there, enjoying also non-academic events. And you see a picture of the campus with the volcano in the background. And then we have Namibia University of Science and Technology. Pictures are a bit outdated. It's the Polytechnic, but the buildings that hasn't changed. And then, of course, our university, which has 3 campuses, and we are located on this Bocholt campus. And as you may guess from the background of my Zoom virtual background, so I'm located on this campus. This is the outside view of our main building. Okay, I said, yeah, GIPE. We invented this verb. So what does it mean to GIPE? I use this for promotion to address the students. So what we want to give the students, that's why we came up with the name GIPE, is we want to give them a global, so worldwide, really global, intercultural project experience. So working on a project together with peers from other continents, and not just working on some toy application, but really working on something of value for some real client. And then, okay, so that's what the students can expect from this project: to meet with their peers, work together on a real life project. Of course, they need to receive credits. That is a precondition by the DID, of course. Yeah, that it's not just for fun, but it's part of their study program. So they receive a credit towards their study program. They receive a nice certificate afterwards that they can use for when they apply for a job, really mentioning and listing what they did in the project, the global project layout and so on. So get well prepared for a career in some international or global organizations. Yeah, work hard, have fun, of course. So just to give you an idea of how we planned this. So this is the master plan for this 4 years. but it consists of 4 circles, each circle for 1 year. So we have 4 years. Every year we run one project, taking in students from all the institutions, and this project will be mainly executed during the first semester. This is from January, February to June, July. You see different lecturing periods. That's also, of course, one of the challenges we had to face. Yeah, so the lecturing periods do not map exactly. That means we have some gaps in between where the students are not on campus. Some students, their lecturing periods ends or was planned to end earlier. Now COVID changed everything, but that's of course an issue. And then we repeat this 3 more times, improving our processes and doing different projects for clients in different continents, and by that allowing mobilities for 120, 130 students. So this is a more detailed look at the project for this year. So the idea was that the students work at their home institutions, they prepare different tasks for the project, and then they meet all on our campus for the spring school, 2-week spring school, and then they work in interdisciplinary mixed teams working on the application, which then finally will be handed over to the client. Yeah, that's a theory. So this is just one slide about the client. Yeah, so this is a parastatal, it's a National Commission on Research, Science and Technology. They want to have a portal for collecting all the relevant information about ongoing research permits and things like that. So it's a real application that they are in need for. And then also we wanted to offer some additional functionality that we have specialists in each of the partner institutions. That is the outline of the project. So yeah, some impressions in February. We met at the Namibian side, and we finally signed the terms of reference. So there is the client representative on the picture in the upper left. Of course, that's me. There's a client representative, and that's my colleague Heike Vincius from the Namibian University of Science and Technology. We both kind of discussed the core of the project in the beginning, and so we 3 then signed this agreement, which was also, the ceremony was also covered on national TV, and their website is still available. So it was quite a lot of public coverage in the media. Everything looked fine. The students were ready to start, and yeah, we came up with a detailed plan. So when to do what, there was discussing, we need a final specification from them. We had the kickoff meeting in end of February or mid of February. Students were starting in small teams on the project. Still, you still see these groups have the same color still. So these are still expected to be students from one university, and then having the spring school in early April or mid of April, and then then working in intercultural mixed teams. Yeah, and then, I mean, we know what happened then. Mid of March, we had to decide, okay, spring school cannot take place, and we have to run all the project online. So this nice timeline was it was hard to make this happen. Everything was nicely planned. So there was for the early July, for mid of June to have the system being deployed, and then having this live in July. Finally, in mid of July, we had a final meeting. Not a final meeting, but yeah, the meeting including the client side and also some external partners, and everything we did through Zoom. So most of the students, they opened their camera. Yeah, some did not, mostly because of bandwidth reasons. But it was quite a huge meeting. The client was present there, and so in the middle you see Ebenezer a representative of the client. We had an external moderator in this meeting. So we were able to deliver a solution to the client. And these are just some screenshots shots of this solution, the portal, which is now, we do some refactoring, and the client will decide about the go live in the near future. And then, yeah, as I said, I think we could regard this project as a successful project. Okay, so this is basically a very brief introduction of what we did in the project, what the project layout was about. So students from 4 different continents, they applied for taking part in this. They got a sponsorship from DAAD covering all the costs for the mobility to the spring school. And then they were working locally on some tasks for the project. That was the idea. Then spring school get in touch with their peers and then working in mixed groups on different tasks and then deliver the application to the client. That was the plan. What finally happened, okay, we started as planned, but spring school could not take place. So we had to have all the meetings, workshops, preparing the students for the technology stack, for the technologies we used, everything to do this online. Of course, due to different time zones, it was not an easy task to agree on times for having these meetings going on. So we decided all the meetings, all the main meetings that required participants from all the partners, they were scheduled for 12 UTC. And then, for example, for some training workshops, we came up with two instances. One for the students from the more Western universities, and one for the Eastern. So meaning that we were a bit flexible to have this meeting in the morning hours European time or in the evening hours European time. So then it was a meeting of Peruvian students, some German and Namibian, and the other meeting was German Namibians together with Indonesians, so to make better use of the available time zones. Okay, so that is that background, and what we planned now was quickly to gather some or discuss about challenges in this project, and we prepared a kind of a whiteboard, a Padlet for that. So you can simply use the QR code that is on this slide, and then you will get directed to a website this on this Padlet tool, and there you can just enter any issues, any challenges that you see in this project, and we will add our observations and then could discuss some of them. Is that an approach that we can go?
Perfect.
Any feedback?
I've seen Colin has shared as well the link in the chat, so participants can use that as well.
Okay, that's great. So yeah, then I stopped the sharing of this of the screen so we can focus on direct communication here. The document, so you can follow this link that is shared in the chat, of course, also. Okay, I did so. Okay, there are some also, already coming up with some issues, and we would like to take this and discuss on that. Maybe also, involving the industries. It's that's as usually a challenge for. Maybe we give you some time to add something. Okay, the time.
The one that you already mentioned, Manfred. So because that one seems obvious, but there is a lot of challenges in there. We have 10 minutes for this.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, we are a bit under time pressure. Okay. Yeah. So something's coming up there now. Time difference. Yeah, I mentioned already. That's of course that is an issue once you have a global project, especially. Yeah, we didn't have the chance to bring the students together. The plan was to have them for 2 weeks on our campus, to have some social gatherings, some parties together, yeah, establishing personal relations, but that couldn't take place. So everything has to go online, and we encourage the students to have some social meetings also without us professors, so just by themselves, but everything needs to be scheduled, yeah, in the morning hours for the Peruvians, in the evening hours for the Indonesians. That's a challenge, of course, but there is no escape from that. Okay, yeah, cultural integration. I mean, as I said, we encourage the students to have some social meetings, discuss about food, about whatever they came up with. And in the preparation also, we launched some questions. So that was this kind of buddy program that we established. So we wanted the students to get to know each other by answering some non-academic questions about yeah, how they think about even politics, society, something like that, that encourages them to discuss, and by that also to recognize maybe cultural or differences to other reasons. Yeah, I would like to comment on what is mentioned by Jaime. That is why we are so grateful that we have the support from the AAD. Yeah, that allows us to have Thomas, who's also with us in this session. So here he's gets paid by the project to do all the organizational stuff, preparing the project, organizing. So that could not be done just by us. We have enough lecturing and administrative workload. So we are grateful for having the support by DAAD on that side, and also the support for the mobilities, of course.
Yeah. The English, I can also comment on.
Yeah, please
Paulo,
go ahead.
Obviously, the English is not the first language for some students, also some lecturers, teachers. So that was a challenge, but also at the end a benefit, because they said they learn more by speaking English from other colleagues, from their peers. So we found a lot of students learning from each other, this peer learning from each other. So it is a challenge. It's one of the communication challenges.
Yeah, but I think overall, when we got the feedback from the students, I mean, it was a challenge, but most of them, they said, well, they were forced to speak English. They were forced to communicate in English. Otherwise, they would have no chance. So they really appreciated this exposure. Yeah, the need to work on their English language skills. Okay, then there is something interesting, very interesting, the student grading and credit across universities. Okay, of course, we wanted all the students to get credits for the course, but as regards the examination, I mean, all they went through the evaluation, and they got credits and they got their marks, but that we decided to have this local. So that is in the sole responsibility of our local university partners, because they have the criteria. I mean, we shared criteria, we shared information, observations, and so on. And most of the criteria, there's a common base, but some institutions, they add other criteria, and this, I think, needs to be kept, at least be able to also incorporate some local criteria.
Okay, okay. Some of them I'm also adding, but I was waiting more from the participants. And one thing that came from the students also as a challenge was the commitment. The commitment was not consistent. Some students were more committed at the beginning, in the middle, and some towards the end, because some of them were working, and working and starting was difficult, and also learning the new technology. So commitment, it's was quite a big challenge, and also finances. And we have to data. They didn't have money to buy data for internet. So just,
yeah, that was an issue, especially with the COVID pandemic now, that students could not meet on campus to work on the project, so they relied on having internet access at home. And finally, the DID was a bit flexible to also support our Namibian partners with giving data packs to the students. Yeah, but that's yeah, online access as it is. I mean, beside these international projects for homeschooling and everything now, so that is an issue that also we observed. As regard commitment, I mean, this is just one course the students take. They have other courses at their home institutions, yeah, but we require that the students will need to be free Wednesday at 12 our time or 7 in the morning. So we require that the different home institutions that they are quite flexible to allow our students to squeeze this course in their curriculum or their calendar, their timetable. So because, I mean, as we have students from different faculties in our project, we have business students, we have engineering students, we have a lot of IT students, of course. So it's impossible to incorporate this in the timetable at the different institutions. Yeah, so we have to set some appointments, some regular meetings, and then hope and yeah, and motivate the administration that the students will have a chance to attend. So that is the reason. I mean, this leads to the success factors. So luckily, before the corona virus hit us, I visited all the partner universities, starting in Peru, then to Indonesia, and then earlier this year in Namibia, and talking to the rector or president, to the university management, and making sure that there is support from the university administration, so that they also regard this as a very valuable challenge or experience, and give the support. That was very helpful at the end. For example, to allow students from different disciplines to squeeze this course into their timetable.
Lack of confidence. Okay, we touch on assessment on each side, but there's also lack of confidence of professors and students to participate on the project.
Yeah, this
especially from students. I think professors, I don't think that was a challenge. Maybe of other commitments that they have a lot of other tasks to do, could be, but lack of confidence is a challenge. I don't think we experience so much of that.
No, but there is an issue that will maybe come up now because now we are starting about the next project, and so we are looking for project ideas and also convincing colleagues, professors, to jump on the project and supervise the student teams. I mean, this time we could do this. I could do this myself with this, massive support from Thomas, because we decided to go for an IT project, which is our home ground. But next time we want also to give more focus on probably business aspects or engineering aspects. We were thinking about something in the area of IoT, because that is an issue in all the participating countries. And therefore we need colleagues from those specialists from those disciplines to join the project. And of course, it's a matter of resources, of time. We can give them support from our side, but yeah, they need to be willing on to jump on the project. So that's a lot of yeah, convincing people, promoting this idea, so that it's really something of value for our students, or so to say, for students from all the institutions. And yeah, so that's of course a challenge. Yeah.
Maybe one last. Yeah. Maybe one last one.
Okay, you can pick one.
I think, yeah, I'll pick the multidisciplinary. Not all students are from the same field of study. Mostly were computer science students or IT students, but we had students also that were from engineering and other fields. And what came out interesting was also that they said they picked up some skills from the computing. And I'm not sure whether the computing learned from the other students, but it was a challenge, first of all, just to assign a task to all of them and make sure that all are learning from the course.
Yeah, I mean, to give you some more details on that. So from Indonesia, we had engineering students. So they had only little IT background, but they were those who really worked very. I mean, they started to be the first working on this project because of different lecturing periods, and then they were really fascinated of the technology that we selected, the tools we selected. And yeah, they were really, I mean, fascinated of also sharing their experiences with their peers in these workshops. And also, as Colin mentioned, we had to take care of giving a task to every student that matches their study program, their specific experiences. So the business students, they were not working on implementation of this IT stuff, but they did some tasks in all this project controlling and gaining some insights about workload distribution and all this. So a bit more business aspects.
Yeah.
Okay, then I think we should move to the second part. I mean, lots of challenges. We discussed already about how we dealt with them. So did we miss any of the main challenges? I mean, it's lots of challenges come into the play because different lecturing periods, different programs. So the organizational fitting within these institutions, it's an issue. Then of course they need to get this similar amount of credits because they work on the same project together. Then there are challenges, we didn't touch that so much, with a real client. Yeah, so there are real requirements and they change over time. Yeah, and they changed in our project. And the client is not always available to discuss something or to get approval of something. So it's the usual situation that you have in a commercial project that also the students experienced. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the next. There's a
Okay.
question.
Is that external question the real client one that came up there, or is it what you copied there, Colin?
This question is from the chat. There's a question from Jamie.
Which one?
Could you describe some of the ideal conditions to develop this kind of experience? And I think that's actually our next section.
Yes, that leads I think to the next part of the session. I'm just thinking whether we could just continue with this whiteboard because we have only limited time. Yeah,
yes,
and then also ask for, I mean, or we share with you about what our response to these challenges is, because we only have close to 15 minutes, and my interest is to share as much information with you, and respond to questions, and discuss aspects as you request them. So then I would like to continue with this.
Yeah.
With this whiteboard. And Colin, what was the question, the last one?
Could you describe some of the ideal conditions to develop this kind of experience?
Why don't?
Could you
yeah, but it was on the chat. Okay, it's not on this board.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. The ideal conditions. That's, I mean, that directly leads to the success factors. So I think it was very valuable that we had the chance to promote this project to the university management. So I remember sitting there with the rector of UCSP and asking for support. So then later on, once you have this support from the upper management, then it's much easier to refer to that to get something done when for example you need to send out letters to the employer of the students that this is important for their study, to take part in some meetings, although their employer expects them to work on something there. So commitment of the university management is one aspect. Definitely, I mean, the preparation. Yeah. So one thing, for example, we learned from previous projects. I mentioned the two predecessors. So that was to have the requirements ready at a very early stage of the project. So in one of the projects before, we spent so much time on gathering the requirements, so that this time, at the time of the kickoff, that was mid of February, when we met the students the first time. But before that, we spent months to prepare this project. But at that time, just a few days before, on the 7th of February, we had this signing ceremony in Namibia. So we signed the kind of contract, the requirements, and then on the 10th or 11th, after we returned back to Germany, we had that was intended to go through Zoom or to online, and we had this online meeting with all the students, and we presented the requirements to them. So there was a clear expectation what has to be developed, and then we prepared a project plan. I shared some images with you. So we had a clear layout and structure of the project. If that is still under development, while you are talking to the students, that didn't work out so well in the past.
Yeah, just to add on that, I think also student mentioned that for the fact that we had the project plan laid out and structured, that helped a lot. And also the guidance from the teachers to continual guidance. I mean, we're doing weekly meetings for students to progress on the report, and then for us to guide them. And also, so the guidance also from within the students, I think I already mentioned that the students were learning quite a lot from each other. So I think that is one of the key factors.
Yeah, as you mentioned, this guidance, that actually was something that we didn't plan in the first run. So, but it came up as an issue that the student needed some support from more experienced programmers, from us professors, and then we assigned one of our from our team to each of we had 6 groups of students working on some task. So every group then got a dedicated guide. One of us, so colleague from Indonesia, from Arequipa, Colin served as a guide for 2 groups, and so that was really important to give some guidance to the students, and also to give some feedback for us how the students are, the progress is on the project, and that I would regard as also one of the success factors that responded to this challenge, that for almost all the students, the technology stack, the technologies and tools were new. Yeah. So there was a very steep learning curve that we expected from the students, but at the end, they recognized that this was really a useful technology. It's state-of-the-art technology. We have to say we didn't use tools that are not used in practical applications, so they can really go out and apply for a job as a programmer, and when then they refer to this project, say, okay, this is the URL. There you find what we also help to develop, and the technology we use is really what's on the list in modern software development.
Yeah, and one of the key ones I to say is client involvement. We were fortunate enough also to have one client that was committed throughout. But what would you want is to have all the key stakeholders of your super users in IT terms to be having involvement in the project. That will also narrow the gap into communication and understanding the requirements or understanding the system, even if we give a prototype that the client understand from early stages. So involvement of the client at all times, also coming to the meetings of students to really see the students' progress. So the client involvement. So I think one of what made it also to be a success.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Okay, something that is new on this. A lot of time difference, grading.
Okay, then inside quality control, we have to actually think about on how to monitor our progression on the project and what are the students' challenges. So we actually, that was the good thing, that we had some students actually that were having the team that only focused on that, to report on some matrices on, okay, hours spent on this specific task. And then really for us to make decisions. For a very simple thing, for example, at the beginning, the students wanted to see the faces of the instructors. I mean, the people that are talking to them. And that came out from those surveys that were done, that were sent to students. So there were a lot of inside information that was coming throughout the project.
Yeah. And that was also something we didn't think about in the beginning. Yeah, so that was also a learning, a lot of learning for us. Yeah, and we are happy that we have 3 more chances to improve on these processes. So yeah, to have some team or some working on getting these insights about the project progress and feeding this back to give us a solid foundation for deriving decisions about the project. So, but basically, yeah, we as the organizer of this, we also learned a lot about how to respond to the challenges, and then finally, yeah, to some extent, delivering a valuable outcome of the project. Okay, maybe 1 or 2. Is there anything on the chat? Anything new?
And nothing. We're asking participants to maybe contribute, say one that you think is a success factor from your experience, from your projects. Obviously, finance. We talked about that.
Yeah, finance is crucial. Yeah, I mean, not only as regards the mobility. I mean, the mobility did not happen in this project as regards the students, but the finance or the support to get everything organized. So to have someone in the background organizing the project, developing a blueprint for the application, selecting tools and all this. So you need some technical support on that aspect too.
I think also just to use different type of tools for communication, just for communication. And at the beginning, it was quite difficult on how I will communicate with the students. But then we had a way to use Slack so that we have groups, and then we have different channels. If this communication is for all public or this is for the client, at the beginning that it was quite a challenge. And also understanding that some students prefer WhatsApp, and you only to find out that because there were some data packages, discounted packages from telecommunication providers in that specific country. So in India, in that example. So using different tools, state-of-the-art tools, acceptance of differences, I think that was also a challenge. And also social team building, that we spend quite a lot of time on team building.
And also just what one day we recognized, I mean, you know, the situation, we also have this in our conference now that some participants, they do not open their camera for several reasons, which is fine. Yeah. And of course, we as the instructors, we want to see them, whether they are still alive and participating and so on. But that time it was brought up by the students themselves, by our Indonesian students. In one of the meetings, they mentioned, well, we heavily rely on seeing the others, seeing their faces when we communicate to them. We need to read in their faces. And so, why, please, could you open your camera when we are in the meetings? So this is something that the students brought up, and because they are more used to read in the faces and not so much communicating in a formal way, through text blocks on the whiteboard or things like that.
Yeah,
but also
Manfred, Manfred, it's a nice comment here, input from the chat. For us, a key factor for success is to have clear learning outcomes so students understand what is expected from them and how this project contribute to their professional profiles. I think this is a very valuable comment. And I think one of the students also mentioned it from our project. He said the project was clear for them, but then they misunderstand the learning outcomes at the end. And that only comes out to us at the end. So I think that's a very good input.
Yeah. So building this application requiring IT skills, of course, this is something of value that the students take home from this, but that's not the key. That's not the key qualification or the learning outcome. But the key learning outcome, and this, I think I made this clear when promoting this and when doing some advertisement for students to apply for the project, is the key thing is to work together with peers from other cultural background, other continents, and to find a way to collaborate and do this successfully. And that can be in different areas. This time it was more IT related, so IT skills are very much helpful. Other time it could be business, it could be engineering, but the key learning outcome is to be able to contribute to an international, intercultural team and deliver something to a real client. Okay, so we have 1 minute left. I don't know whether there is, I guess there is lots of other sessions following directly after this one. So,
yeah. Carolina can.
I see Carolina.
I'm back here.
Okay.
So Manfred and Colin, thank you very much for sharing this experience with us. I think it was a very valuable input to learn from your experience rather than like the textbook experience on how to implement these international projects. Your input from your experience, from your challenges and success factors, it's very valuable for us to replicate these experiences in our institutions. So I want to thank you very much for this presentation, and I want to thank the participants for their active involvement in the session. We invite you again to visit our virtual stands and our visitors and our exhibitor stands to participate in the forums and in the networking sessions so you can take the most out of this LeCheck 2020. Again, thank you very much for your time, and I hope to see you around in the other sessions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Caroline.